Hey guys, it's Vicky, and today I am here to share with you a tag video. And this is a video that I did this time last year and thought it was really fun, so decided to go ahead and do it again this year. And it is the mid-year book Freakout tag. I really like this one because it's just kind of a way to look back on the first half of the year and see how your reading year is going. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first question is, best book you've read so far in 2020. So the big question right off the bat. And for that, I have read a couple of really good books, but the one that stands out the most to me as of right now is Columbine by Dave Cullen. This is a nonfiction book about the Columbine attacks back in 1999. And I just think that this book is so well researched, so well written. Dave Cullen really went into looking at all sides of this event and examining all sides, looking at not only what happened to the victims, but what possibly may have motivated the two killers. He also goes into, discussions about the media's involvement and the law enforcement's involvement. And I just think overall, it's just a very, very well done book, and definitely the best nonfiction book for sure that I've read so far this year, and is definitely going to be on my favorites of the year at the end of the year. Question 2 is the best sequel you've read so far in 2020. And I haven't really read a lot of sequels other than I reread the Lock and Key graphic novel series this year because I wanted to have the series fresh in my mind when I watched the Netflix series. So I reread the series, and other than that, I haven't read any other sequels. So of that series, my favorite, sequel is the third volume, which is called Crown of Shadows. And this one I really, really enjoyed because in this volume, the story really amps up and you get introduced to a lot more keys, because the whole story in here is about this family that moves to a house where they find all these magical keys that have different magical properties and do different things. And in this volume, you get introduced to a lot more of the keys, and the story just really starts to become just more like amped up and interesting. So yeah, really loved this one. Question 3 is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I have read all of Riley Sager's books and have enjoyed them all, and this is one of my anticipated reads for the year. This one, his books always focus on a popular horror story or a popular horror trope, and this one deals with the haunted house. Specifically, it is borrowing a lot of ideas from the Amityville Horror, which I'm not sure that really happened personally, but I do think that it's an entertaining story and a fun one. So I am looking forward to reading this one. I'm sure I'm gonna like it because I've liked all of his other books. Question 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year. For that, I'm gonna go with Survivor Song by Paul Tremblay. And this one I'm really looking forward to reading because it deals with a virus that is very contagious, and the incubation period is very short. I think it's like an hour. And what it does is it causes people to have kind of like a rabies-like reaction, and they want to bite people. And so it's all about this virus spreading and people being quarantined and having curfews and the effects of this virus. So for me, even before this whole pandemic happened with COVID-19, I was interested in this book, but now it has a whole new significance, and I'm really interested in checking it out and just kind of seeing how the story is compared to what we've been dealing with in real life. Question 5 is biggest disappointment. For me, I'm going to say The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. I read this back in January, and I was really looking forward to it because it is like a classic horror story, and for me it just did not deliver. I just found it to be extremely dry, and the main character was just to me, she was very hysterical unnecessarily, and I just didn't like connect with her as a character. And so overall, it was a disappointing read. I think I gave it 2 stars. Yeah, I did not like it. Question 6 is biggest surprise. And for that, I'm gonna go with The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. This was one, again, that I was anticipating for this year, and I knew I was going to enjoy this book because it's a vampire story. I love vampire stories, and I have read My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, really enjoyed his writing. And so I knew I was going to enjoy this, but I didn't think I was going to get as much out of it as I did. I feel like this book had a lot of discussion about racism and about sexism, and I wasn't expecting it to have those kinds of underlying themes. And for me, I love horror novels that do that, that look at things going on in society and put them through a horror lens. This book did just that. It was very intense. There were parts that were very creepy, but then again, it also had that social commentary, which I really, really appreciated, and I loved this. It was a 5-star read. Question 7 is favorite new author, debut or new to you. I'm gonna go with a new to me author, and that is Karen Slaughter. I read Pretty Girls, and when did I read it? Was it in May? Yes, it was last month. And I'm not going to say too much about my thoughts on the book because I haven't done, it was a 5-star prediction for me, and I haven't done my 5-star prediction wrap up, but I will say that I absolutely loved Pretty Girls. It was a great read, and one that definitely has me wanting to read more Karen Slaughter, all the Karen Slaughter, because it was so intense. The characters were so interesting and flawed, and there was just this grittiness to it, and it was everything that I was hoping for, and so I can't wait to read more Karen Slaughter. Question 8 is newest fictional crush, and for me, I think I gave the same answer last year. I just don't get crushes on people in books. I just don't. I don't know why. That just doesn't like happen for me. So unfortunately, I don't really have an answer to this question because I don't know. I don't get crushes on fictional people. Question 9 is newest favorite character. And for that, I'm gonna go with Theo from The Goldfinch. I think the reason that he sticks out to me is because you go on this journey with him. The book opens when he's 13 years old, and the story takes you into his adulthood, and you just really get to know him. You get to feel the pain that he's feeling, and the loss and the grief that he's feeling, and it's just, he is a flawed character. He does a lot of dumb things in this book, but you can kind of see why he's doing those things because of the things that he has lived through. And so for me, he's just very memorable. He's a character I don't think I will soon forget. Question 9, a book that made you cry. This book didn't make me cry, but I came close. It made me very sad. And this is one I haven't even talked about on my channel yet because I just finished reading it. And it's also a 5-star prediction, so I will be reviewing it at a later date. But that is Long Bright River by Liz Moore. This book was so sad to me because it deals with addiction and what addiction does to neighborhoods and communities, and also what it does to families. Specifically in this book, you have 2 sisters who have a rough childhood from childhood they are dealing with addiction within their family. They go through a pretty sad upbringing, feeling unloved, and then of course addiction is what tears their relationship apart. And so there were definitely parts in this book that just made me incredibly sad and just made me want to cry, though I didn't quite cry, but it came close. Question 11 is a book that made you happy, and for that I'm gonna go with Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. I just think that this book, I think a lot of the reason that this book made me happy was the time that I read it. I was reading it kind of during the height of the pandemic when everything was really amping up, and this was just a really good book to read to kind of take my mind off of things. And of course it has that magical, whimsical sort of feel to it, which I think most of the time makes you feel good. It just gives you a sense of wonderment and just happiness. And I just thought that this was a really fun story. I really liked Morrigan, though she wasn't a like super happy, peppy sort of character. She was, to me, was very realistic as a character. And I just really enjoyed this story and can't wait to read the rest of the series. Question 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. And for that, I'm gonna go with The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abidare. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This cover is so beautiful. I love the colors. I love the paper flowers that it has a significance when you read the book, what those pages are that are making the flowers. This book was so, it was heartbreaking, but it was also very inspiring and was a really good story, really. But the cover was definitely something that just caught my attention. Like I said, I love the colors. I love everything about this. This is just beautiful. And the last question, question 13, is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I'm gonna mention 2 that I want to read by the end of the year because I got them, and when I got them, I was so excited for them, and so I feel like I need to read them. The first one is Gun Love by Jennifer Clement, and this is a contemporary story that takes place in Florida. It's about a mother-daughter, I believe, that are struggling, and I believe they're living in their car, and they are kind of staying in the parking lot of this, near the entrance of this trailer park. And for me, that like trailer park is kind of a buzzword for me. It kind of automatically piques my interest because I grew up in a trailer park. And so it's just kind of, to me, it's kind of a unique environment to grow up in. And good or bad, it's an interesting, to me, an interesting thing. So anytime that there's a story that revolves around that, I'm always interested. So this one definitely has piqued my interest and I definitely want to get to it. And then the other one I really want to read because then I will be caught up with this series. I don't know if you guys saw my video about series I need to finish. This is one of them. And if I finish this, then I am officially caught up and hopefully can start a new series. That's kind of the goal I have for myself, is to finish a series or 2 before I start a new one. So this one is What the Hell Did I Just Read by David Wong. This is the 3rd book in the John Dies at the End series. I don't know if there's gonna be any more books, but this is the latest one and I really would like to read it to be caught up. And this is a series about a character named Dave and his friend John and some of the crazy stuff that they deal with. It's very strange. It's very funny to me. Just kind of overall just weirdness. But I mean, if you couldn't tell by the cover, it's a really fun series. I've really enjoyed and I really want to like finish it up and get caught up. All right, guys. So there, whoa, my books just fell over. There is my mid-year book freakout tag 2020. Let me know down below how your reading year has gone the first half of the year. What are some of the answers you have to these questions? Or better yet, if you would like to do this tag, consider yourself tagged and go ahead and do it. It's a fun one to do. I know 2020 has been, it's been a year, right? And I'm sure most of us are saying the first half has been pretty crappy, but hopefully our reading hasn't been too bad, right? So yes, let me know down below how you would answer some of these questions, and feel free if you'd like to go ahead and do this tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll talk with you soon. Bye.